Capitalism replaced feudalism as a form of human trafficking and slavery. The Matrix is about how humans have been enslaved, but they don't know they're enslaved. They live in an illusory world where they believe themselves to be free. They've been brainwashed, gaslighted all their lives to believe in this reality. And we in the developed world, it doesn't matter if you're in a communist country or a so-called democratic country, which is a farce because democracy has never existed in the history of the world, and it's not even compatible with capitalism. So, this is part of that dream world we all live in. The system of control. I've made a lot of videos about how the mother is a totalitarian state when we're children. And matrix means mother. Well, our mothers are just the very beginning. We're brought into this world by a narcissist who seeks narcissistic supply, in other words, love. That's what we call love. That's what we seek in monogamous relationships. That's what we seek. We seek intimacy as mothers. We find intimacy with our children. Our children are the ultimate source of narcissistic supply, the primary source. We were brought into this world to be exploited, to meet her needs. And that is slavery. And the cycle of narcissistic abuse. And because our needs weren't met as children, our narcissistic needs, because the ultimate narcissist is a baby, and what we call narcissists are babies in adult bodies. They have arrested development because the hierarchy, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, were not met. So we never attained self-actualization, which is the right brain development. So you go to Alan Shore, Schore, and he will explain to you that the right brain only develops when the mother is meeting the child's needs constantly. During the first 2 years of life, when 95% of the brain's connections are developing. So that means breastfeeding, constant presence, skin-to-skin contact, sleeping with the baby. Like all other primates and great apes, this is what we need. Constant contact and care and interaction, positive interactions, stimulation from the mother, and emotional regulation, co-regulation from the mother. We don't have object permanence until 3 years old, object constancy. Our brains are not prepared for our mother to send us to a daycare center and go to work and leave us for 8 hours and then zone out watching TV or on her phone or whatever, and then put us in a separate room while she goes to sleep in another room because she has no maternal instinct, okay, because her right brain didn't develop. Then the baby's right brain doesn't develop, and it's a cycle of narcissistic abuse. We live in a left brain dominant society. Ian McGilchrist, the brain doctor, which is like a psychopath society with no empathy, no love, no capacity for love or reciprocation, no compassion. It's just competition. Step on whoever you have to step on to get ahead. And greed and power and dominance, hierarchies and exploitation. That's what profit is. When a company makes a profit, it's because they've exploited the worker, taking on average 80% of the profits they generated. That's human trafficking. The banks are human trafficking us, a form of human trafficking called debt bondage. We live in a nightmare world. Capitalism is slavery. There's no stopping it. It's bigger than anyone. We've become so infantile as domesticated animals, so narcissistic. And it's only going to get worse. The only thing that could solve this problem is if somehow we went back to being hunter-gatherers, and that would mean that our population was reduced down to like 11 million globally. And that will probably happen in the glacial period that's due any time. These interglacial warm periods that we're in right now, within this quaternary ice age, they only last 10,000 years. And that's when civilization began. So eventually this will end. And this has been going on for millions of years as a clockwork cycle, caused by the gravitational pull of Jupiter and Saturn. I think it's Jupiter and Saturn. They're such massive planets that they affect the orbit of the Earth around the sun. We go from an elliptical circular orbit that we're in now to, a circular orbit that we're in now into an elliptical orbit where we have these long winters. So winter is coming. But aside from short of that occurring, I think it's only going to get worse. Eventually, we'll be so infantile, we'll literally live in a womb-like pod, and machines will have to take care of us. and our minds will be plugged into a virtual world because probably because we destroyed the planet. We're like babies sucking on the tits of the world, and we can't get enough. And we're not responsible adults. We're not coming up with sustainable ways to feed ourselves and to meet our needs. We're just sucking on the tits of the world like it's going to last forever. And zero responsibility, zero accountability, zero care for the future generations. So it's just about me, right now, what I want. And that's not going to change. It's going to get worse. So eventually there won't be a world that's habitable for humans. So we'll have to live in some sort of stasis pods that maintain our homeostasis, and we have to be cared for by machines that can actually live in that uninhabitable world. We already live in pods, wombs, called houses, work in pods called cubicles, drive around in pods called cars. So it's just a hop, skip, and a jump, really, to imagine a future where we're so infantile, we're literally inside of a womb, and we're, so not only do I see the Matrix movie as a prediction of the future, but right now it's a metaphor that we're so infantile. We live in this fantasy world. All personality disorders are infantilism. They're all narcissism. They're just different adaptations, but it all comes down to a lack of development in the brain, where the person has very poor reality testing. So they live in a illusory world of defense mechanisms, denial, projection, identification with the abuser. So people think that Donald Trump or some other leader is going to, save them and make things better. That's identification with the abuser, because he's just another oligarch, another capitalist, and or some other political leader or political party, and all political parties are cults. So religions are cults. You see, this is why families are cults. This is why in the Matrix, Morpheus says you sense the Matrix when you go to work. Corporations are cults. When you go to church, Christianity is a slave cult that wants you to bow down and serve the master. El Shaddai means master owner, the name of God. Surrender your will to the master. And just blindly believe. It appeals to our grandiosity. Oh, we're going to go live in the mansions of heaven and streets of gold. And what grandiosity. When you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes, so the government, political parties, criminal justice system, it's all cult. So the Matrix, when you watch TV or look out your window, so basically your whole culture and specifically the media is a giant cult that's brainwashing you. And I would add the educational system is a cult that programs you to be a slave. I mean, what's the overarching thing that you learn in school? You might learn a lot of different things, but the whole overarching thing that you are slowly conditioned over, you know, 16, what is it? 13 years, and then college as well, is to go someplace you don't want to go for 8 hours a day and do a whole lot of work for absolutely nothing. That is what school teaches you. The media is obviously trying to get you to believe that capitalism is wonderful, the free market system, neoliberalism. That's um, so, and it's teaching you to be a consumer, to participate in this capitalist system, just to be a slave to your own materialism. The things you own end up owning you, right? Fight Club. You work jobs you hate so that you can buy shit you don't need. And they've convinced you that you are your wallet, you are your bank account, you are your khakis. That's your identity. It's consumer identity. That's the cult pseudo identity. All cults program you to be this cult identity, and that's probably so easily done because we didn't develop an identity, because our brains didn't develop. We never matured into adults. We still have arrested development. Now, what happens to Neo in the Matrix, it's a metaphor. He senses that there's something wrong with the world because his right brain is developing. He's somehow, maybe he's right brain dominant like me all his life. And he knew there was something wrong. And he's beginning to awaken fully and see the truth. He's seeing through all the cult bullshit, all the brainwashing. And he's looking for Morpheus, he's looking for the truth. And when he sees the truth, it's a nightmare, and it nearly, causes him to have an aneurysm. I mean, it was a horrible experience to go through. I mean, panic attacks on a regular basis, multiple times a day, going to the emergency room, having heart palpitations, going to mental health professionals and just feeling like all they want to do is just put you back in the matrix when you've already escaped. And it's like saying, I just escaped a cult, and then they want to convince you to go back to the cult. So there's really nobody to help you in this world if you're awakening to the truth. There is no good news. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. It's all bad. And it's just a grieving process. And that's what becoming an adult is learning how to deal with the difficulties of life, like the Buddha. He gradually he was exposed to the harsh realities of the world after they had been hidden from him. His father, the king, hid all of the old people and the dying and the sick from him. And he gradually, as he got older and became a young man, he began to be exposed as he traveled around his kingdom to those harsh truths of reality. Realizing that one day he can be sick and he can grow old and he can die. And, you know, that was a simple time. Now there's all kinds of other harsh realities. We live basically in Nazi Germany, 2.0, I guess, here in America, where we have a fascist dictator, and we have our scapegoats. The immigrants are the Jews, the homeless are the gypsies, and we're building concentration camps and ICE detention facilities and facilities for the homeless, detention facilities, and we're expansionist country. We're now trying to expand our empire. Iraq was a empire expansion. Venezuela in recent times. Now it's Greenland, so we can have the Arctic so that we can extract the oil, and it's always about oil. The Congo and the cobalt there for lithium-ion batteries, is becoming part of our empire now, and I saw that coming. Harsh truths. Well, I've already talked about some of them, how infantile we are as a domesticated species, that it's not getting better, it's getting worse, and it'll never get better. And so I just wanted to put this video out there, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.